Welcome back, everybody, to the NBA 2K24 Pittsburgh Force chapter here on this expansion franchise. We are entering our third offseason with this team, coming off a, 38-44 season during our second season with this team, obviously. Played better to close the year just like last year, but not enough to make the play-in tournament this year as opposed to last year. And I think I have a couple of big moves in mind to add to our team to really get us over the hump. And also, hopefully in turn, we also get some pretty good development in terms of player progression with guys like Clint Hardy, Person, even Jimmy Thomas hopefully goes up. And we'll see about Homer Castro. I have some big question marks about him moving forward, but I think he will be on the roster. It just might not be in a starting role. If you guys would not mind, please do consider liking this video and subscribing if you have not done so already. It really helps my channel out and gets it out to a lot more people. I would really appreciate that. But we get into some centers here as we approach the offseason. These are the upcoming free agent big men. Billy Willis at the top. I will throw him an offer, but I expect the Cavaliers to match it. If they don't, then this game is just completely broken. I'm not going to sign Jalen Duren because he's 30 years old, and we already have seen him too much, and I think I want to go after a guy that can be better offensively and also give us that good rebounding skill. And I think, part of that is going after Mark Law, who's 25 years old. He's been the backup over in New Orleans for a couple of years now, and he has A+ rebounding skills, but the big difference between him and Homer Castro in terms of rebounding is his badges. The big one is Box Out Beast, which Castro has not a single tier of. He doesn't have bronze or anything, but Law has Gold Box Out Beast, which will obviously put him in better spots to rebound the ball. So I think that based off his A+ post defense, based off of his, 3-level scoring skills, I think that he could be worthy of a starting job, and his per 36 numbers look very, very good. He won't be knocking down any threes. I'm pretty sure he's taken none in his career to this point. But his per 36, if he gets a lot of playing time, he will get a lot of rebounds. And that is one of our focuses here in this offseason. He also gets over a block per game and 1 steal per game. I think the duo of Mark Law and Castro coming off the bench could be a really big boost to us, both defensively and in terms of preventing offensive rebounds. There's also 2 other options. We got Junior Buford here, who is currently coming off a broken wrist. Now, he has A- rebounding and has no Box Out Beast badges, but he is a way better offensive player than Castro is. So if you want to go offense over rebounding, then he's pretty much the guy to go after. He's got, I believe it's called Diamond Comeback Kid and Guard Up. He's got Gold Brick Wall and Catch and Shoot, Claymore, Corner Specialist. He can just pretty much do it all on the offensive end. Now, some of his stuff is going down right now because of the injury, but I think regardless, he would be a really good player to pick up. He would be kind of a more all-around player than Castro is. Not as good defensively, not as good of a rebounder, but he would give you a different level to your offense, which was kind of a concern for us. I mean, both defense and offense were definitely issues for us at different parts of the season. But then we have another option here, Danny Christie, who I believe is also coming off of a rookie contract with the Celtics. So after 3 years, he will be a free agent. Hopefully he is not going to qualify offer, because if not, he could be a guy for us to go after. He would be a better offensive player, most likely, than Mark Law, but would not be as good rebounding-wise, but would still get you more than Castro currently is. Now, one big difference between these 3 players is that Christie has a pretty bad free throw shot. Meanwhile, if you look at Buford, he is just on a different plane at the line, which would really help us out because free throws have been one of the worst parts of the offense for this entire chapter. So that would really help us out if we got Buford. Mark Law is between those two, so I think Mark Law is still my top option, but I'm definitely not opposed to going after Buford too. And Christie, by the way, does have Gold Box Out Beast just like Mark Law, so again, that is the difference maker in terms of rebounding. So if we really want to just hone in on stopping allowing those constant offensive rebounds, then he is like Mark Law, a guy to target in this offseason. We probably can't bring in 2 of these 3 guys, just one of the 3. So we're going to have to really pick and choose here. Now, I have looked through pretty much every possible prospect there is in the draft that is a small forward or that can play at the 3 spot. And there's really no favorite of mine. Like, there's one guy that I like that is a good offensive player, but he sucks on defense. And I think if we're going to sign a starter at small forward, it's got to be a guy that can play defense. You have some upcoming options. I think my favorite, to be honest, is AJ Griffin, who is 30 years old. We saw him when we played against Washington last episode. He's great on offense, and his defense is currently B+, and he can pretty much do everything, and he is a veteran player. He does not have any, like, defensive badges, really, but the B+ defense is better than Clint Hardy's right now, and I think getting somebody that can both score and play defense would be pretty key for us. Now, he wouldn't be, like, a go-to scoring option at all, but he did average over 11 points a game and shot the ball very well from both the field and from downtown, and was a fantastic free throw shooter, which again would help us out because that was a big problem for us in these first 2 seasons. And if I sort through the top outside defense here at small forward, you have a couple of options over B+, but they're all like aging veterans like Wendell Moore and McDaniels. And McDaniels, despite having those good badges, he has shot the ball extremely poorly from the field. And this past year, he barely played for Seattle. In the years prior to that, he shot less than 41%, and he just seems to have gotten worse as he has gotten older, which does make sense. Then you got Christian Braun, who plays for Milwaukee right now, and he also barely played and also shot poorly when he did play these last couple of seasons. So we know about Josh Green. There just aren't too many options here that would be a great starting fit, but I do think that AJ Griffin does fit that mold to the best of this class right here. I do only have like 5 or 6 players on my draft board right now. I just don't think it's that good of a draft class, to be honest, and I'm trying to avoid players that are more than like 21, but there just aren't that many guys that are 20 or younger that are going to be difference makers in their first year. My favorite guy on the board right now is Jesse Park, who we saw like earlier in the year when we first did some scouting. And that's because he can play offense and shoot the ball very well, especially behind the arc, which we're still trying to get a little bit better at, because then that can really unlock this offense. He's also got a good athletic profile and good potential. He's got 4 badges, all for offense. He's kind of a Bradley Beal, kind of an all-star player. Good leaper, can take guys off the dribble, and has that high potential as well. But he's bad at scoring at the rim, but he does have corner specialist, guard up, mini magician, and a slippery off ball. Not every player I draft needs to be a defensive menace, so if he can just come off the bench and give us some good shooting, then that would be very nice. But for starters, we gotta figure out the defense and the rebounding for sure. We should also have like $80 million worth of cap room if we don't give qualifying offers to a couple of these players down here. I will give one to Clint Hardy if we're able to, which I think we will. But for guys like Jonathan Campbell, I think I just feel comfortable letting him go. I also might trade away Barea here because paying him $8 million to likely be the 3rd stringer at center would probably be a little bit too much. We could free up some more cap space and go for a different spot there. But I think, we're going to have a lot of money to spend here once we get to the open market. And player retirements, we see Giannis Antetokounmpo and Miles Turner, Tingus Pingus, DeJounte Murray, DeAndre Ayton, Mitchell Robinson, Gary Trent, and more all retire. Naz Reid, after 15 years playing for the Neptunes, these last 2 years, I think, has retired. Ben Simmons, finally gone. Thank God. It took this guy way too long. Herb Jones also done. Plenty of role players down here too. And Giannis is the only Hall of Famer of the bunch to make it here this year. 1,600 games played on the dot, 22-9-5 in his career. 2 MVPs, 16 All-Stars, and 2 Defensive Player of the Years. 2 championships, 8 NBA first teams, 4 All-NBA second teams, 3 third teams. He made the all-defense teams 12 times total. He was a fantastic player, but now he's gone. And number 34 has been retired in Milwaukee. Now here we have a pretty big development here. We get our lottery pick back, I believe, because it's a lottery pick. At least I'm pretty sure. It still says that it's the Pistons pick, but it should be ours. And we have the 12th highest odds to get the first overall pick. We got pretty lucky last year with our draft position, and hopefully that stays true here as well. So we go from 12 to 12. So that's where we're at here in this draft. I'm probably not going to trade up because that would probably take too much. Unless we can get rid of Barea in one of those trades, and that would actually work pretty well for us. But I'm kind of against trading up every single year, and so far we have traded up in the draft 2 years in a row with this team. So might want to avoid it here, but if we can get Jesse Parks with an earlier pick, you know, that might be the move here. I am curious, who hits the most standing NBA threes in this combine? It was Jesse Park, so he's my top target right now. Now, he is supposed to go anywhere from, I believe, like 3 to 12. Last I checked, pick 2, pick 4, pick 3. So he's actually gone up most draft boards as of late, unfortunately for us. Al Bayless is also on our board. He can also play at that 3 spot as a backup, but Clint Hardy's going to be in that role if we do sign somebody else. So it's going to be tough to find a guy that can actually get a lot of playing time this year, which is why I'm kind of trying to avoid trading up. But Bayless was also a pretty good three-point shooter in this class. He was top 3 on moving threes from behind the arc too. We also have Cole Tavares, who's 6'7", on our board. He's a two-way outside threat, and he is going to be kind of a later pick. Might go in the late first round. He's got 3 badges: off-ball pest, pick dodger, and mini magician. And I mean, he has actually pretty good defense. I think I like him a lot more, but the problem with him is that his ceiling is only a starter, and his bench is Lonnie Walker. So not a whole lot of potential with him, but he does give you some pretty good all-around ability across the board. We got Dalton Stevens up to 100%, and he is a pretty good slasher and mid-range shooter, but cannot hit threes. Defense is a huge problem for him. He's not really great at like any one thing, although in college, you know, he had a couple of nice games. All-star ceiling, floor of Kevin Gamble, a knack for making stops every now and then. Looks pretty smooth, good agility, good ball handling skills. He's supposed to go in the second round. All right, so here we go in the NBA draft. The first pick belongs to the Pacers. Now, if we just pause the draft and look at the summary, got the Hawks, then Celtics, then Mavericks, and we are, of course, down at 12. I'm not going to trade up unless I know a player is going to be there, which is not going to be good for us for Jesse Park, who is my top option, but I still am considering Al Bayless as well. But he might also go before we are able to trade up, because I don't want to give away Wilson Towns or Jimmy Thomas or Castro even in this round just to get a guy that's not going to be starting for us or even get that much playing time. So I think it makes sense for us to kind of wait for a couple of picks, see where the chips fall, and go from there. The first overall pick, the Pacers will select Dion Paul out of Fresno State, a 7'2" center. There's always like 8 or 10 of these guys in the draft. And there goes the other Cecil Andrews at number 2. I am actually shocked he went there. This guy has no badges, but he gets drafted to the Hawks. The Celtics next up, they will select Mac Harrison. All right. And I'll wait one more pick for the Mavericks, and then I'll consider what the Jazz have to offer. There goes Don Francis. Let's see what the Jazz want for that 5th overall pick. Just curious here, if I offer our 12th overall pick and Barea, what would Utah say about this trade? Not that it's going to go through. They say that's not happening. What if we throw in our young point guard, Lenny Hollins, who is, I guess, a 2-star quality player, included with the 12th overall pick and Barea? Does Utah have any interest? They do not. They're probably at a loss here for this pick. The Jazz end up selecting Vladimir Novak. So Park is still on the board here at pick 6. I'm going to keep trying until somebody bites. I'll try one last time throwing in Barea. And the Celtics say no. Alright, there you go. And Boston ends up selecting Luther Carson. Okay, so Jesse Park's kind of fallen here a little bit. We actually do get an offer here from the Clippers. They want Wilson Towns included. That's not what I'm going to be doing at all. But they do throw in Hollins and Barea. What if I throw in the pick plus Barea and Hollins and they can keep Bay on their team? The Clippers will say no to the trade-up. They don't want our pick, but they do have interest in these two players. But they just won't do it, so I'm not going to try and force the issue. They will select Stuart Ryder. I'm not sure the Nets even have a point guard on their roster. We're just going to move up like 4 spots. We offer Lenny Hollins. They say no. We'll throw in Barea. And they still say no. Brooklyn ends up selecting Cole Dixon. There's only 3 teams between us and getting Jesse Park. That is who I want. The Suns are next up. The Phoenix Suns have agreed to the offer, so Barea and Hollins have been traded. We trade up to pick number 9, and now we can pick and choose who we want here. I'm leaning towards Jesse Parks, obviously. So a refresher on Jesse Park. He was supposed to go earlier. He is the number 2 ranked shooting guard in this draft. 12th in the total draft rank. And again, he's got that all-star Bradley Beal ceiling. He can really shoot the ball. Defense definitely is bad, but he won't even get that much playing time in the first place. He'll just be kind of a go-to offensive guy off the bench, just like Melvin Harrison is. And then if Castro comes off the bench, that would just give a nice boost to our defense too, alongside Keon Malone. That's kind of my thought process here. And again, he's got 4 badges. That's kind of the most that I've seen so far, besides that point guard that had 7. So I'm leaning towards him. Could have gone at pick 2. I guess I was pick 20, actually, not pick 4. And another pick 2. And then you got Al Bayless, who got on like 25, pick 30, or pick 13. He's got 1 badge for rebound chasing. And he is a good athlete. Defense is slightly better, but only in post defense. He's also a pretty good shooter overall, but does not have the same badges. And he's got the same potential on paper, with apparently a higher ceiling but a lower floor with a bench floor. So we saw the numbers for Jesse Park. I think he is the guy that I want to go after. There's also Cole Tavares, but he's not even supposed to go until later on. So the pick is going to be Jesse Park. That was who I wanted this whole time anyways. So let's choose the prospect. He's a shooting guard that can knock down threes. That is who we are taking. Welcome to Pittsburgh. He comes out of St. John's, New York. Rob Mahoney says, is this an indication of re-signing Jimmy Thomas? No, it's not at all. We're going to bring Thomas back, obviously. We'll come back once the draft is over. Deon Paul was the first overall pick. He's got 1 badge at a 76 overall. It's brick wall. And I'm just going to go through the potentials real quick. He's got A potential on paper. Andrews at pick 2 has A-. Matt Harrison, A- at a 71 overall. Don Francis, B+. Vladimir Novak, B+ at a 77. Luther Carson, higher potential. Stuart Ryder, A-. Cole Dixon, the first A+ in the draft. He's a power forward, which is not a need for us in this stage. And Park does have A- potential, and his defense is actually way better than we thought at C- across the board. And he's honestly a better mid-range scorer and inside scorer than we thought too. So honestly, I think we made the right pick here. This guy can do it all, maybe in like 1 year, and he can immediately shoot. So that's a big boost to our bench, I think, because our bench points was the lowest amongst the entire NBA. So that will really help us out. And he does have those 4 badges that we thought he did have. So I think this was the right pick to make, to be honest. His shot tendency is not that high, which is good. He won't really take away shots from our star players if they're on the court at the same time. I like this pick, even despite us having to trade up to do it. CJ Young, A potential at a 77 overall. Dwight Sparks, B+ as a 7-2 center. Nelson Slaughter, A-. No real, like, bad picks here. There's B+ potential, A-. A- for Brook Phillips. Noel Higgins had A. He was also on our board, and he could have been an option for us. He's got better defense than Park does, but he is not a good shooter, but he can slash and score at the rim. Also pretty good athletes. Gonna keep going through. Calvert Morgan is the first potential lower than B+. Okay. Zach Stevens has B at a 77 overall. He could have also potentially been a pick at small forward, but I like Park a lot better, to be honest with you, with that potential and that immediate offensive ability. This guy was a 5'9" point guard, Josh Swift, at pick 22. Interesting selection there. I don't often see guys that short make it to the NBA, kind of the Isaiah Thomas archetype. Lamar Allen, B potential. Bradford Hopkins, B. Al Bayless falls to pick 27, and he is a way better offensive player than we initially thought. Defense is about where we saw it on his scouting profile. He's got A potential. Could have gone either way with him or the other guy, but I think Parks was better. Moving through the rest of the first round, Igor Nevsky. This is the second guy that's going to be named Igor Nevsky, I think, in the NBA, just like Cecil Andrews. They got to work on these character generations here, because these prospects look like other guys we've already seen before, so they got to work on that in this game. But that is it for the first round. I like our pick a lot, I think. I think I'm satisfied. And just for a more in-depth look, Park is not going to be much of a dunker, but he does have a 77 driving layup, 70 close shot, 85 mid-range shot, 87 three-point shot, which matches the current average at shooting guard. So he's automatically going to be a really good shooter for us. His free throw is honestly in a pretty good starting place too. Now, for most guys, that does not really improve throughout their career in this game, but hopefully that will go up a little bit more for him. He will drop fouls sometimes, but not great at that. Shot IQ is pretty darn good. He's not the best passer in the world. He's kind of quick with the ball, but not going to blow by anybody really for the most part. Pass IQ is kind of low. Outside defense 55. That's got to go up, hopefully, in a couple seasons. I think offense will be the name of the game for him. So hopefully that is what he gets us on. Hopefully good shooting. That's the goal here. Now we got team player options. We're going to pick up both of the team options for Jimmy Thomas and Homer Castro. A 1-year option for Thomas going into year 4 for him, and a 2-year option for Castro with 2 years left on his rookie contract. We have qualifying offers to extend, and I'm not going to give one to Jonathan Campbell, but I will give one to Clint Hardy. I think that he is worth staying around as most likely a backup option at forward. And Billy Willis is a restricted free agent, but he's only a 2.5-star match. Buford, though, is a 4-star match, which is why I really am considering bringing him in. He does want a pretty hefty contract, though. He's only got one offer as of right now, and it's from the Warriors for a massive 5-year extension. Dylan Durn's a free agent, but he has no current offers. What about other centers? Mark Law is restricted. He's only a 2-star match, so, you know, he's not really going to fit the perimeter-centric system, but again, he would be that rebounding go-to guy. He can score at the rim, so I think we'll at least throw him a bone. And the last guy that we talked about was AJ Griffin, who is also unrestricted. We will definitely offer him a deal, I think, to be our starting small forward. And then the last guy that we thought about was Danny Christie. I don't see him anywhere here. It seems like Danny Christie must have gotten a new deal, I guess, on the last team options. So the Celtics picked that up for him. So it's pretty much going to be between Buford and Mark Law. I expect the Cavaliers to match the Billy Willis offer because they gave the guy a qualifying offer, so that makes sense. Now, do we want to go after Buford? It would cost us quite a bit of money, but could be that go-to guy. Again, he's a B- inside scorer, a rebounder. He does not have a box-out beast. But if we compare his per 36 to Mark Law, let's just take a look here. If we just take a look, I mean, again, I do want a system match. That would be nice. I completely skipped over his stats. His per 36 would be about 18 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, over 2 blocks per game. So he gets you better inside defense than Mark Law would. But he kind of struggled from the field as a big man, but was great behind the arc and at the line. I think that is a big plus to a guy like him. Meanwhile, Mark Law, again, a 13-13 kind of a player, would also be good for the offense, too. That would be both more points and rebounds per game than Castro was supplying. He can also shoot free throws, and he is more efficient scoring as well, but would not be able to spread the floor like Buford can. So, I think because because Law is restricted, I will go ahead and offer him, but I will also give one to Buford, and if we get one of the two, then you know what? We'll just take whoever we get, I think. So we'll offer Mark Law a nice 3-year contract. I imagine this one gets matched by New Orleans, but if not, then so be it. So I'll give him like a $22 million deal for 3 years, as the salary being $22 million. And we'll still have plenty of cap room left, so we'll offer that contract. And then for Buford, this could be our biggest signing since taking over this team, so let's go ahead and try to make it. We would still have plenty of cap room to bring in somebody on the mid-level exception. So 4 years, $45 million salary, pretty big, but I think that he could be worth it. So I'm going to lower this by a little bit, and then I will see what he says about the Golden State deal. I'm also going to offer AJ Griffin. He actually wants more than I expected from him. So if I think can still afford to get him and Buford. So we're going to offer him. He's got no other offers right now, so we can kind of lower this by a little bit, and hopefully he takes kind of a smaller deal to join us as a starter. It looks like Buford has accepted another offer, so he's taken the deal, I think, from Golden State, and Mark Law has agreed. We'll see if New Orleans answers that and matches the offer sheet. AJ Griffin is going to agree to his deal, though, which I think is going to be a big boost for us in our starting 5, and it looks like New Orleans has not matched the offer for Mark Law. Buford still, I guess, is available. But if we keep advancing, then maybe it's not going to get matched. Buford is going to sign with the Neptunes. What? That is a huge development. Holy cow, I thought it was going to be Golden State. No, he leaves for essentially the team that we're trying to take down. Okay, that is actually a really awesome storyline that has developed here. I was not ready for that whatsoever. And it looks like New Orleans might not match the offer. They're going to let Jalen Duren walk. The Neptunes are. He's got offers from the Neptunes again. I doubt they're going to actually offer that once Buford officially signs. So if we move forward once more, it looks like we're going to be getting Mark Law and AJ Griffin. I am going to renounce the rights to Campbell. We'll keep the cap hold on Hardy for now. And we have signed Mark Law and AJ Griffin as 2 of our biggest signings in the series to this point. And what is going on with these Neptunes? They bring back Jalen Duren. Where is Junior Buford? They just completely pulled the offer for Buford. What is happening? We got Mark Law, though, which is on a way cheaper deal than Buford is. That will honestly save us quite a bit of money in the future. We got 2 new starters here in Pittsburgh, unless Castro really develops well later on in the episode, but the Neptunes are being very weird. But Billy Willis does re-sign with the Cavaliers as I thought he would. Keith Mann re-signs with the Magic. Ben Gilliard, I believe, re-signs with the Hawks. Adrian Morrison leaves the Breeze for the Knicks. Gerald Geiger re-signs with the Wizards. Frederick Reed re-signs with the Celtics. Stojic re-signs with Utah. Rock Galobe re-signs with the Phoenix Suns on a 3rd contract. Walker Kessler returns to Minnesota. And Eamon Thompson is heading to New York after a stint in San Antonio. Herb Buford signs with the Warriors. But it looks like Junior Buford is now the top free agent. So he declined our offer to accept the one from the Neptunes, and then they kind of pulled it. That is crazy. What are they even doing? That is so confusing. He's probably going to go back to the Warriors, though. They got a 3-year offer for him now after pulling their 5-year deal. That's pretty crazy. Now, because Clint Hardy is an RFA, I am going to offer him the mid-level exception, and hopefully he takes this. It'll be about $13 million per year. That would be most of the rest of our cap room, but I like our 2 signings so far. It really gives us a nice offensive boost and rebounding boost. Hopefully he takes that, and then we can just focus on adding just a couple of depth pieces to this team at probably center and point guard, and then we're probably done here pretty darn quickly. Clint Hardy will accept the 3-year, $40 million deal to return to the team that drafted him. Welcome back, Clint. Meanwhile, after all of that noise, Buford has ended back with the Warriors. What a crazy couple of days for him. Meanwhile, De'Aaron Fox leaves the Hawks to sign with the Trailblazers, who previously had Scoot Henderson, but he is now in Phoenix. We're going to sign Wallace Beasley as a 3rd center for more depth on this team. And we're going to sign Ronnie Montgomery, a sharpshooting shot creator, as our 3rd point guard in case Melvin Harrison or Wilson Towns goes down. He can come in and give us some offense off the bench. We're going to round out this roster by bringing in Jawan Strong on a 1-year deal to be our 3rd string small forward. And we're going to bring in Calvin Jennings as our 3rd string power forward. And now our team is complete. Jose Pena ends up signing with the Breeze on a massive 4-year deal worth over $45 million, more than Buford got, or than Billy Willis got on his new contract with the Cavaliers. Carlton Posey leaves the Celtics to sign with the Lakers on a 1-year deal. Interesting stuff there. Those are pretty much all the top signings here. The Breeze also signed Vlado Luvkovsky, who was one of the top centers available, but I think he was already there before. And then Quinn Hilliard re-signed with the Neptunes on a 3-year deal worth about $10 million per season. All right, here we go. What kind of progression do we get for Jimmy Thomas and Homer Castro and Dustin Person? Let's find out. Thomas goes up to an 84 overall, no increase in badge numbers. Castro does improve by a really good amount. He might be fighting for that starting job with Mark Law. He gains 5 badges now and can actually shoot mid-range jumpers. And he's got A+ rebounding now in terms of his letter grade, higher IQ, higher inside scoring. Okay, so this is really good as a whole. I'm so glad that I signed Mark Law, but this is even better. I would rather have a battle for the starting 5 spot instead of just having one solo guy take that role. So Castro goes from 4 to 5 badges, and what were they? Hopefully Box Out Beast is one of them. If so, this is going to change everything for us. He's got Silver Drop Stepper and Silver Post Spin Technician. He already had those 2, I think. Now he already had Bronze Anchor. He does have Bronze Box Out Beast. Now, Law has golds. That is a pretty substantial difference, but having that badge and not having it is an even bigger one. So that is massive. He's got Bronze Fearless Finisher, which will help him convert more contact layups. He's got Bronze Pogo Stick. bronze post lockdown, bronze post playmaker, which he already had, and bronze rebound chaser. That will also help. This is going to be a really fun year. I think we should be a whole lot better than we were this past season. We can also see the actual attributes that are going up. Driving layup up to 84, close shot up to 83, dunking going up, shooting going up. His 3-point shot is going to be at a 57. We have to do better at just not getting this guy the ball in his hands behind the arc. Free throw goes up by 2. Hopefully Wilson Towns got some stuff there instead it's just at a 70, no gain for him. He lost 1 in a couple of areas, gained 1 in some, so no real change for Wilson Towns. Really, he'll be the same exact player that he was. But Castro's development is going to be huge, and we're not even done yet. He's got 90 post control now. He's got to work on the post hook and post fade for sure, but now he can draw more fouls. Shot IQ goes up. That's really going to help him out too for those threes and taking those contested shots on the inside. This is about as great as you could ask for. Rebounding goes up by 5 and 6. That's going to be a pretty big difference. That is amazing. Jimmy Thomas, does he gain anything besides driving layup up to a 99? Post hook goes up. IQ, pass accuracy, pass vision going up. So we're in store for another really fun year. Thomas might be approaching his potential. Might have one more year of development. Who really knows for sure? Keon Malone actually got better. He goes up to A- mid-range shooting, A+ behind the arc, A- rebounding. So we should be hopefully like a top 10 rebounding team this year. That is my expectation. Mark Law goes up in terms of mid-range shooting and IQ. And AJ Griffin, you know, he goes up a little bit too. And how about Dustin Person? Only getting 3 more badges, but he does go up to an 81 overall. And he gets better across the board, now up to an A rebounder, AIQ, D+ outside defense, A- inside defense, A- 3-point, B+ mid, A- inside scoring. Clint Hardy also got better. So we're going to have a pretty good team, I think, this year. Way better than our first 2 years in Pittsburgh. He gets +4 driving layup, +3 close shot, +5 mid-range and 3-point shots. Post control and post scoring all goes up. He should be a whole lot more consistent this year, and I am going to expect him to shoot better and to shoot his threes upwards of like 38 or so %, given that boost. So this is all just great. He goes up 4 in offensive rebounding, 5 in defensive. Help defense IQ way higher. He does lose some speed though, which is weird, but you know, that's fine. Stamina goes up to almost 100. And I'm curious what his badges are now. I think he had Pogo Stick was the only one he had first. He gains 3. And I'm going the exact opposite way, but now he's got Bronze Dream Shake, which is good for post fake moves. Bronze Drop Stepper as well, good for scoring it in the post, and then Bronze Masher, which these are all good for post scoring. We should have a much better offense and defense in total. That is awesome for this young core. Pretty much, as I already said, as good as you could ask. Melvin Harrison gained some IQ. How about Clint Hardy going up? He might give AJ Griffin a run for his money at the 3 spot. He's now got 2 badges, which he did not have before, Catch and Shoot and Mini Magician. We'll take that all day of the week. He gains driving layup, close shot, mid-range shot is going to be absolutely money. Got to get him some wide open looks from both the mid-range and behind the arc. Free throw goes up. Post fade, post control, drawing fouls, shot IQ, everything going up. The future looks bright here in Pittsburgh, folks. I am now way more hyped than I was before. We only get a little bit of regression for Hardy, but he might not even see the court that much. We might give Jesse Park the minutes over him. I think that is my idea here, is to give him more minutes over Hardy, because Hardy lost a lot of badges too. So I think we'll have a very young team, but they should be really fun to watch. I'm just curious, what other players have gone up? You've got Byron Cousins for the Grizzlies, the young core for Atlanta coming into their own as some high 70 overalls. Randy Parks, last year's first overall pick, goes up to 5 badges, and now he goes up to an 83 overall. So he has also developed pretty well in his first year, just like Dustin Person did. If we keep on going, the Neptunes are seeing some regression for their core. Mac Boyd is going to regress this year. So his peak age must have been like his 3rd or 4th year, dude. That's pretty crazy. But he does lose 2 badges. He'll still be like a 90 overall player at 28 years old, but this might be regressing more than other players. Definitely is not going to have the length of a career like LeBron did, despite the comparison. Jovanovic also goes down. Jalen Duren goes down. So the Neptunes are getting older, and they're getting worse. We'll see if their young talent like Pat Sims and Chucky Henderson can step up and make up for the lack of development for their aging veterans. Over in Brooklyn, Jose Hernandez goes up to an 82 overall, and then you got Rodriguez going up, and you got Erno Serb going up too. A couple players for the Nuggets, Mike Macy and Daryl McCarthy, both going up, but Mobley and Jokic are going down again. Pacers get some for Clay Miles. Not a whole lot for the Pelicans here. They let Mark Law walk to us. David Lowry for the Raptors and Irvin Sparks both gain some, as well as John Bryan. Chuck Grant goes up by 1. Delano Collins goes up by 1 over in Seattle. Kyle Walton off the bench will be a pretty good player for them. Might actually start for them. Who really knows? Then you got Reuben Harper for the Spurs. The Spurs are going to be once again great. I mean, Fleming and Wemby are one of the best duos in the NBA at this point. Then you've got Dusty Taylor, who we thought about drafting last year. He goes up by 4 for the Phoenix Suns. Justin Sanders goes up by 4 over in Oklahoma City. That is Kenny Benjamin up by 3 for Minnesota. Trevor Wellington up by 3. We keep going. Andre Wall over in Washington is going to replace AJ Griffin as their starter. Keep going further. Doyle Ferguson up by 2 in Philly. Pretty good stuff here for the Breeze. Jose Pena, after signing with the Breeze, goes up to an 89 overall. He used to play for the Hornets. And then a Sammy Phillips up by 4. They should be a fun team, I think, too. The Bucks have almost no change. And how about Jerome Vaughn all the way up to an 89 overall, up by 6. Easily the most development of any player that we've seen so far in this offseason. Very good stuff for him. Chester Pollard, who is another great big man drafted by Cleveland. What is it with these guys, man? They got him and Billy Willis now, that dynamic duo. Willie Blair, Ben Knox going up for Boston. Then you're back to us. I think we had one of the best developmental off seasons of any team. That is special. We're going to use a pretty similar lineup system to how we used it last year, with 36 minutes apiece for both Towns and Thomas in the backcourt, but I'm going to give Person that same 34 that he was getting last year before he got hurt. And for Castro and Law, we're going to see who plays better first. I'm going to give Castro the edge right now because he is a better system fit than Law is, and because he got that box out beast badge too. So I think we'll start him for now. And if Mark Law ends up being a better player in terms of rebounding and scoring inside, then I will put him back into the starting 5. But I think it makes sense to give the younger guy the bulk of those minutes. We'll give Clint Hardy 20 off the bench at small forward thanks to his progression. And then we'll have Malone at 14. Park will get 12 whenever Thomas comes out. And Harrison, same thing, backing up Wilson Towns. Hardy will not be playing for us. Jaden Hardy, that is, will not be playing for us in the opening part of the season. But I think this will work for us. We should be a much better team overall, much better rebounding, much better shooting. So that is the expectation, and I think that If we can get off to a hot start, unlike our first 2 years, then we're going to be well on our way to perhaps a playoff appearance with this roster. All that being said, we have now a 3.5-star proficiency system. If we do not start to win more games this year, like I want to get like anywhere from 45 to 50. If we cannot get up to that point and we miss the playoffs somehow, then Antonio Temple's job is pretty much on the line. Like, he is on the hot seat this year. This is the team to finally make that playoff push. I think we can do it, but if not, we're going to have to find somebody else to take over for him. With all that being said, folks, I will see you guys on opening nights on the road in LA against the Los Angeles Lakers. That is our first game. That is opening nights. I will see you all there. I am excited for the debut of this team here in year number 12 of this expansion franchise. Should be a fun one. More fun than our last 2 years. Expectations are high, so, we'll see what happens. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please like the video, subscribe, leave your thoughts down below on how hyped you are for this upcoming year. What do you think this team can accomplish with these new signings, with this draft pick, with this progression? Let me know down below. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.